Hello, everybody. So, one of my, well, I can't remember the last time I went over an old TCAP Predator, but there's some footage kind of came up on my YouTube feed, like it does, and I was watching it. I was like, this is kind of interesting. I remember this guy, Kenneth Forton. He's kind of remarkable, if that's the right word, or should I say? What sort of stands out with this guy is the guy with the rope and the duct tape who but we'll have a look at the chat log as well, so we'll have a look what he said. And the uncut footage, well, not uncut, but the Predator Raw, they did a Predator Raw on this, I think it was Fort Myers. So yeah, let's take a look at it, shall we?
And heading towards the kitchen. He's in the kitchen. Call out.
Hey, I'm in here.
Keep going. He's coming fast. Call again. Hey,
I'm about to put on my bra and panties. Come on in.
Good job. Hold on. He's coming around the desk, heading towards Chris.
This was the second time that we'd worked with Emily as our on-site decoy.
Girl named... What are you doing here? Chair, please.
Oh, I mean, as soon as you walk in and someone shouts, I'm just putting on my bra, you're like, uh-oh, something's going wrong here. But he's obviously one of the people that just sits down immediately. He's quite submissive. But that will be evident when we start examining his character a little bit more.
Please sit down. Put your hands up top so I can see them. What are you doing here?
Just coming to meet somebody.
Who are you coming to meet?
Just a girl.
A girl named...
I think he's in a state of shock. You know what I mean? He's trying to fit. This is what's so interesting about these scenarios, isn't it? It's like these guys' worst nightmares have come true. So there's so many factors that are at play. You've got they're in the state of shock. Then you've got Chris confronting them. They're trying to conceal the criminal activities. They've got this bizarre, perverted nature. There's a humorous element to it. So many. That's why we love it so much.
I'm not even sure what her name is.
I mean, it's possible that he might not remember her name because he's not fucking interested. And they did look a genuine sort of genuine confusion. Then her name and her real identity, what she, the kind of person she is totally irrelevant to somebody like that. He's not interested at all in the human. He's just interested in, having his perverted way with her, basically, as we all know.
How old is this? I'm not even sure what her name is.
15 or 16.
I love it when they when they're like 15 or 16. It's like he can't they've always got to put up the age a little bit so that it might be conceivable that that she's of age and that he's doing nothing wrong. So it's like 15 or 16. She might be of age for all I know. But as we'll see, this guy is a shit liar.
15. And how old are you?
30.
Kenneth Forton had driven about 2 hours to meet a teenage girl. Things like sexual acts.
It's okay for a 30-year-old man to come to a home where a 15-year-old girl is alone. Why?
I guess it's really rather not.
It's like, I don't even know what he said then. Let's have another listen.
30-year-old man to come to a home where a 15-year-old girl is alone. Why?
See, his immediate reaction is he's trying sort of very basic body language generally. When his eye goes up to, his eyes pointing upwards and to his right, it's usually the brain is trying to access information, usually access memory. So it comes across as a weak character, so there's no defiance. So he's kind of he's being led by the more dominant character, which is obviously Chris, and the more dominant personality. He's asking him that question, and he's not strong enough, it's not strong-willed enough to counter it and defend himself. So he's actually genuinely looking for a genuine answer to that question, which is in a roundabout way, what the fuck are you doing here trying to meet a kid? He can't find an explanation that is. He's done that recall. You know, look at that face there. He's faced with the prospect. Well, not the prospect. He's faced with the reality that it's inherently wrong and that he knows it. So what can his brain compute in that situation?
I guess it's really rather not.
I guess it's really rather not. That's. I guess it's really rather not. He's jumbled up. He's not had the ability to come up with any kind of coherent answer because part of him can't tell him the truth because he's in a difficult situation. His brain is broken. It's kind of an interesting little experience.
For a 30-year-old man to come to a home where a 15-year-old girl is alone, why?
I guess it's really rather not.
Right, so that we can't really, you know, I could break that whole sentence down word by word and we can go through that, but that might not make for an entertaining video. It's not statement analysis per se, but, you know, we could analyse the fuck out of each word, but not on this occasion. But anyway, so he's just basically, that is him saying, I fucked up, I shouldn't be here, and it's wrong. That's his way of not saying it because he's not trying to be overtly honest, but of course we can interpret it that's his emotions expressing it in that way. That's how it's manifested.
I'm sorry?
I guess it's really rather not.
You'd rather not what?
No, it's not okay.
And what were you going to do once you met?
Just talk.
Just talk. Well, there's a lot of talk going on here.
And speaking of talk, let's have a look at the chat log, shall we? Okay, so let's see. I find it quite amusing that he just uses his you know, he's on there to molest a kid. We know that. And he's just using his full name. I mean, talk about, you know, it just adds weight to the fact that I see him as a bit of a weak character. I think he's got a bit of a checkered past, to say the least, this guy. I'd be very interested. What I like to do is not take people on the surface level. So in other words, you've got this guy and his behaviour is disgusting. He's a disgusting guy. He's sick at this point. There's no doubt about it. We'll have a little bit more of a look at the chat log. But I of course, let's look at the surface of it, and that's true. But I always like to dig deeper. So I'd love to know. This is what I like, you know, that fascinates me about the Lawn situation, his character. What led him to become so pathetic and the crazy things he does. What makes him that way? What has made this guy come here and say those and behave that way? What crazy shit has happened in his life? What poor decisions has he made? What was his upbringing? It really, because if you dig beneath the surface, there wouldn't just be this guy. I can guarantee hasn't had a spot. I mean, nobody's had a spotless upbringing. It's part of being a human. There will be inevitable dysfunction and pain and suffering and challenges. But obviously some are more extreme than others. He has obviously got some demons. And I'd like, it interests me. There's a book. What's the fucking name of the book now? Shit. I was going to tell you a story about a book I was reading. The Examined Life. That's it. It's called The Examined Life. And it's like written by like a psychologist. A psychiatrist, should I say. And he basically, everybody who comes to him, he breaks why they behave a certain way. So in other words, a person behaves a certain way. If a person can't verbalize and express something that's happened to them, if it's repressed inside them, it will manifest in their behavior, and they're not aware of it. and that's the idea of what a psychiatrist would do, would try and get into the, or a psychologist, probably more fitting. They would like figure out why your behavioural patterns, what causes them, and try and fix, try and get to the bottom of it. Anyway, that's kind of that's what interests me. Anyway, let's get to the matter at hand, shall we? So, hey, I just find it interesting how he's just not using his own. He's just using his complete. It's like, dude, at least try and cover your tracks a little bit, man. Fucking hell. Anyway, how are you? Pretty good, cool, just chilling, blah, blah, blah. What's your age and race? That's interesting. Is he... I mean, it doesn't, in the fucking hell, I don't want to be getting too controversial in light of recent events, but with regard to sexual, I was going to say sort of preferences with regard to, race, appearance. There's nothing wrong with those things, but of course when she's 15, and it's a strange thing to ask, because I don't think I've ever seen it. I mean, he's looking for younger people. He might not be looking for younger people specifically, just because that's what they would do. Doesn't mean that that's all they were looking for. Maybe there's an indication here. I'm 15, and why I got pick on my profile on MySpace. 15, huh? Yeah, that's like half my age. Like, okay, well, it's time for you to leave then, dude, isn't it? Yeah, it is, but girls mature faster. That's interesting. So initially, the flirtatious, that's kind of like, I wouldn't, that sentence there is insinuating that there's like the potential for some kind of romantic involvement, if you get what I mean, because it's like, okay, he's saying that's like half my age, so it's a negative situation. It's like, probably shouldn't be engaging is what he's getting at. You're half my age. It's like, it's a negative. It's negative, isn't it? But she's saying, oh, it's okay, girls mature faster than guys, which is generally true. So she's kind of validating it and saying, well, it's all right. That's kind of interesting. Not 15 years faster. Exactly. Yeah, you're right. So, dude, leave. Lol. Depends. Son. Lol. Depend. Son. The guy. There are some dumb ones. Depends on the guy. Right. Okay. What would you consider dumb? I don't know. Just guys that are jerks. I can be sometimes. Okay. A bit of honesty here. We've already established that. Anyone can though. Yeah, but like always jerks. Oh no, that's not me. So what do you come on here for? Friends, older guys, lovers, nothing better to do? Okay. Open question. What the fuck are you doing here? What do you want? Nothing wrong with that. Well, there is. He shouldn't be asking that to a 15-year-old. It's nothing, I suppose. There wouldn't be anything wrong per se with having a conversation of someone that age, but why would you want to? Why would you want to have a conversation with a 15-year-old girl? You've got nothing in common. And plus, it's potentially going to get you in shit, so you'd bail immediately, wouldn't you? Okay, so response is nothing better to do. I'm homeschooled, so this is about the best social line as there is. Yeah, it's not too great, blah, blah, blah. Just, lol, want me to come pick you up and see what it's like to have fun. Okay, that's quite, that's quite forward, isn't it? It's kind of come out of the blue, that, isn't it? They've not even got to know each other at all. Lol, want me to come pick you up and see what it's like to have fun, and then 6 seconds later, I'm just kidding, to try and cover himself. What? I didn't stutter. I don't know what he means there. My parents are home tonight, so I couldn't do nothing anyways. Oh, but otherwise you could. Yeah, because she's not giving him a flat refusal. It's like, I couldn't do anything, and then he's seizing on that. He's jumping on that straight away. There's kind of a desperation here. I'm not saying yes, and I'm not saying no. Lord, you want some, don't you? Right, okay. I'm just kidding. It's not sophisticated level of sort of chat here. It's just I'll throw something out there and then pretend it was a joke if it doesn't go down well. Well, I like a joke a little. You see what I mean? What kind of music do you listen to? And that's kind of come out of the blue. So I think he comes across as not being very bright. This guy. That says to me, he's just randomly come out of the blue with that question to try and make her think that he's interested in her as a person or trying to establish some kind of connection. It's the most obvious question you would ask somebody generally is what kind of movies you like and what kind of music do you like. And there's nothing wrong with those questions. It can lead to interesting conversations, but it's pretty fucking cliched, isn't it? Let's see how long it takes. I was just going to say, let's see how long it takes for him to get back on game. And there you have it. Not fucking long at all. Did you have sex with him? So, I don't know. I like the normal way. And she's established that she's experiencing sexual matters. And then he's going into detail here. So, there's no reservations at all. It's quite clear from this chat that he's got no reservations with having sex with a 15-year-old girl, someone exactly half his age. I meant if you're gonna, okay. He's trying to get her interested in different sexual behaviours, shall we say. Use lubrication, KY, pussy juice, whatever is you'll find you like many different right. So he's going into very specific detail, getting quite gross. For someone who never ate, he's quite graphic, and he says he's got a 9.5-inch dick, which. Right, it's but okay, fucking hell. I don't know. Obviously, we can't assess whether he's lying or not. I don't know why you'd need to in this situation. So it does, but then again, you can't judge these guys by his normal standards. How about I come in you about 2 a.m. I meant come to you, lol, which is kind of. He's being vile with his wordplay because I think he gets off on it. What if I come in your ass? Okay, so it's pretty bad stuff. You know what I mean? Saying that to a girl of that age, it's as bad as it gets, really. Asking, do you shave? Right, when I upload this video and it asks me, is this meant for children? I'm going to have to click no, aren't I? It's a good job YouTube do that. So I don't know whether there's much point in going into any more detail on the chat. We've already established what to... Let's just... Here we are. I've just randomly gone ahead. In fact, can we establish how long the chat is over? I think it's just one long... Oh, it's over a few days. Or is it? Yeah, start 7... Yeah, okay. Yeah, so it's over a few day period. So he's not like... So he's playing a little bit of a long game. Not necessarily a long game, but... I'm not sure if we've got the dates, actually. So I can't say, but if you look at the times, you can tell it's definitely over a few day period. Okay. Just seeing if I can pinpoint the bit where he's talking about the rope. But it doesn't really matter because we know that that's the case. Because anyway, let's get back to the footage, shall we? Okay.
You get very specific about some of the sexual things you want to do to her.
He sure does.
You ask if she's tried anal yet. She says, no, that would hurt. You say, use lubrication. It's mighty considerate of you.
There's no fight in it at all, is there? I mean, you can look at it a few different ways. There's also a hint of anger in his eyes there. you can't read too much into an expression, but it's almost like he's pissed off that he's being challenged in that way. Of course, if you've got tendencies which you're not fully accepting, and somebody challenges it, the normal human reaction would be, resistance. You're not going to fully admit it at all, are you? So there's a little bit of anger in the eyes there. He comes across to me like an unhealthy guy, emotionally, obviously, psychologically, and physically. He's weak in stature. He's quite a slim build. There's nothing that doesn't point to unhealthiness. But his skin colorization, his skin pigmentation, looks very pale. He's quite heavy set in the eyes. His skin doesn't look a good colour. The expression as well on his face, he's got no aliveness to him at all. This guy's got a lot of issues. My betting would be he's had a pretty dodgy past as with regard to, family situation or whatnot. Whether all of it is self-imposed or not, I don't know.
What were you thinking about here? I mean, help me out. Help me to understand what's going on here. If you don't talk to me, I can't understand.
Sir, I'm just trying to meet people. I moved down here not too long ago. I'm just trying to meet people.
Can I tie you up? Did you bring rope with you tonight?
I have rope in my car.
You have rope in your car?
Yes, for my job.
For your job?
Yes, I also have a bunch of tools back there.
I asked him about some of the things he said.
Let's try and find out in the chat where he mentions rope, shall we? Okay, so here we are. Can I tie you up? So I think this is the first time he mentions it. We're about just under halfway, so I think we're a couple of days into the chat, and he says, can I tie you up? Well, my parents will be gone. I'll figure it out tomorrow during the day. Tie me up. I don't know about that. You got like ropes and stuff. Yeah, I work construction, so I have all kinds of stuff. If you like rope, I'll bring rope. Okay, so he does work in construction because he turns up in a small pickup, doesn't he? I don't know if I'd like rope. I haven't done that. Do you have nylons? No. Tights. Yeah, I got some of those, but don't want them ruined or nothing. Damn, going to be so difficult. If you got rope, I might let you bring it. Lol. I like my stuff. I might just grab it and tie you up. Oh, really? I don't know. I'd have to decide. Sounds like fun. As long as you don't strand me. What? Won't let you try on me. Oh, yeah, I'll leave it in. Okay, so is that the extent of the... That's the... Right, okay. So that was pretty much the extent of the rope conversation. Some guys, some girls, people like getting tied up. It's quite a common thing among couples that have got a little bit of adventureness to them, if you want to say that. There's nothing wrong with that. Obviously, when you've got a man who technically is old enough to be that girl's father, and she's half his age, then of course we're getting into dodgy ground, aren't we? It's to want to tie up a girl of that age. It's you can figure it. You can make your own decisions, of course, about the moral ground of that. It's pretty dodgy, to say the least.
Line. Then he starts to open up. And then we find out that, in fact, he did bring rope. He did using in sexual...
All right, Chris, come on.
Using the rope in various sex acts with this 15-year-old girl. What would have happened if a 15-year-old girl was here and I wasn't?
Same thing that's happening now, just talking.
I mean, he's getting a little bit more. He started to not relax, but he started to find a little bit of I wouldn't really call it defiance, a little bit of enough strength within him to defend his position, or what he thinks is defend it, because he's like blatantly lying, as we know. It doesn't take a fucking genius psychologist in body language and statement analysis to figure out that it's bullshit. You only need to look at the evidence available. Of course, no one could say with 100% certainty what he was going to do. Well, I can say with 100% certainty, and I'm sure you can as well, but, you wouldn't be able to... You can't 100%, you know what I mean? It's not like he was in the middle of that act, but, he's turned up. She mentioned when he walked through the door, I'm just getting into my bras and panty, meant, to try and... It's kind of it's a good thing to say that, because it's sexually suggestive, isn't it? So it adds, if you needed any more sort of weight to the cause of trying to pin him on those things, then of course there you have it,
Just talking.
Just talking.
Do you see why that's very difficult for me to believe, based on this chat?
Yes, I do.
And that's a good question. Do you see why it's difficult? If it was ever a court scenario, you'd be like, why is it difficult to see? Because I had that conversation. So why are you different than if you was looking at it objectively? Because I wouldn't have done anything. And the argument doesn't stand up, It doesn't stand up because it doesn't stand up. Because it's just nonsense. Of course, I mean, it's very easy for me to do this kind of video and try and analyse this guy's speech, because the evidence against him is so overwhelming. It's not like, you're analysing like the McCanns, who, well, they're fucking guilty of sin, but I mean, what I'm trying to say is, like, you can't, there wasn't enough to convict them in a court of law. But with this guy, the evidence is that overwhelming that he got 9 months in prison, and he got registered as a sex offender for life, I believe.
That's the guy's honest truth, though.
Let's just go back a minute.
Talking.
Just talking.
Just talking.
Do you see why that's very difficult for me to believe, based on this chat?
Yes, I do. That's the guy's honest truth, though.
That's the God's honest truth, though. He has to bring a divine witness into it, because, of course, on its own, it doesn't stand up. So, let's bring a divine witness into it and let deity, God, fucking witness that I'm telling the truth,
But why should I believe that?
Because I have a 6-year-old daughter that I'm trying to see.
This is probably the most interesting part for me. It says a lot about...
For me to believe, based on this chat?
Yes, I do. That's the guy's honest truth, though.
But why should I believe that?
Because I have a 6-year-old daughter that I'm trying to see.
There's a lot to sort of go at there. Let's just...
Because I have a 6-year-old daughter that I'm trying to see.
There's a lot that we can say about that. Because I have a 6-year-old daughter that I'm trying to see.
I have a 6-year-old daughter that I'm trying to see.
Now, that's probably the truth. It doesn't answer his question in any way, really. It's not a direct answer to the question. Chris is just saying...
Difficult for me to believe, based on this chat?
Yes, I do. That's the guy's honest truth, though.
But why should I believe that?
Because I have a 6-year-old daughter that I'm trying to see.
Why should I believe that? And his exact answer... So Chris is saying, why should I believe your bullshit? Why should I believe your ridiculous, implausible story? Why should I even consider your lies? And his responses are not a direct... A good answer to that question would be, because I'm telling you the truth. That would be a powerful, good answer to that question. He doesn't say that. He doesn't say, because I'm not lying, or because I am telling you the truth, or because I do not lie. I mean, that wouldn't necessarily be the best, but it's a bit better than the nonsense he comes out with. So he throws the old, I'm a father, so therefore I wouldn't do anything. It's a really interesting way. We could really go at this for ages, but what that says is he is saying with that statement that he knows that it's totally morally inappropriate and bad what he's done. He's judged it himself Because what he is saying is, I wouldn't do this, or what he's trying to convey is, I wouldn't do this because I have a 6-year-old daughter. Now, he didn't just say a daughter. He had to mention her age. This is totally off. This is totally unprompted. Like I said, he's not asked about his family situation. He was not asked if he had kids. He was asked, Chris said, "Why should I believe your implausible story?" And his response was, "Because I have a 6-year-old daughter." So he felt the need to tell us he's at her age. And we have to believe someone until they give us a reason not to. So I believe him that he has a 6-year-old daughter. Why did he feel the need to mention that she's 6? Because it invokes more, to have such a young daughter, it makes you appear as though you're more caring. Sounds a bit strange, but the younger the child, the more we have feelings of empathy and protection towards that kid, because they're more vulnerable. It's part of our nature as humans. So that can make it, oh, ain't that nice? You know, that kind of thing. Children at that age are lovely creatures, are lovely beings. And he says, so he's established that he's a father, but what does he say also? Because I have a 6-year-old daughter I am trying to see. So he's not got a relationship with that kid at the minute. Trying to see her establishes that at this moment in time he isn't. Now, I don't have information fully on his background. I would say, from everything I know about this guy, he's kind of a weak character. He's obviously got bizarre sexual tendencies. Doesn't appear to be healthy in any way to me. He's a deadbeat father, or he was at this point. Call that an unfair assessment, but I don't think many people would. Trying to see, could you always, everybody at some point has known a deadbeat father. Unfortunately, I know someone who's fell off the perch in my life, and it's not easy to see. And when they will always say, no parent who's can't be asked with the kids anymore for whatever reason will say, oh, well, we'll see what happens. I'll be like, no, I'm trying to get back in contact. I'm trying to see the kid. And that's what he says here. He's like, it could be, we have to explore we have to allow for the scenario that the mother won't let him see the kid. Or that she lives too far away. Or that he's not allowed to. Or that the circumstances will not allow. It could be that the mother sussed him out and won't let him anywhere near the kid. It could be that the kid can't stand him. Although at 6 years old, you don't generally develop such strong reactions to somebody. The most logical conclusion that he's a deadbeat father. And the fact that he's a deadbeat father and you tries to use that to his advantage makes it even worse in my eyes. It makes him more of a deplorable character. Now, if we just go, I know I keep repeating it, but
Believe that.
Because I have a 6-year-old daughter that I'm trying to...
Look at his head as he's saying it. He's easing into what he's saying. It's like he's saying it with confidence, like it gives him some kind of credibility. Like, he's nodding, like a little bit of cockiness in it. If you just watch him when he's saying it.
Daughter that I'm trying to see.
You know what I mean? There's like and even his eyes kind of narrow a little bit, like you do to sort of convey confidence. It's like, well, and it's like he thinks he's got something good that he can use to his advantage there, but it just makes him look even worse. You're a deadbeat father. You know that what you've done is wrong, and it's even worse for a father to do it, or you wouldn't have brought it up. So he knows that that's the case. Because he's trying to say, basically what he's saying is, I'm a father, I'm a good father because I'm trying to see my kid. So therefore I'd never do anything against a child. Because it goes against the very nature of what a parent would do. I'm a nurturing, caring father. So how dare you question my integrity? But yeah, he is basically telling us everything we need to know.
You have a 6-year-old daughter.
Yes.
How would you feel if a stranger came into your home?
That's interesting, the smile. I'd hate it. It's quite... Why is he smiling?
Well, why should I believe that?
Because obviously.
How would you feel if a stranger
Is it immediately there's like a nod of the head?
came into your home?
I hate it. I hate it.
You could.
I think it's like a cockiness. I think he's like... It's his arrogance coming... Not necessarily arrogance, but it's like, okay... I'm in a better position now, so I'm just going to make joke. I'm just going to make light of it. Right, let's get.
Do something she's not currently doing. Read that where those marks are right there. Out loud.
Can I see you naked?
I'm sorry?
Can I see you naked?
Go on.
On Friday? Yeah.
Has there been any other parts of any chat logs where Chris has got them to read the chat log out? Sorry, parts of the show where Chris has actually got them to read it out before?
What do I get out of it? Pleasure-filled night.
Now, those are your words, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so why should I believe that you didn't come here to have sex with this girl?
Because that's not my intention.
There's quite a big pause. 5 seconds until he says it, and in his brain he's trying to conjure up something, and the best he can do is a really half-assed denial of, because that was not my intention.
I swear on my daughter.
I could analyse that one statement, because that was not my intention. But we haven't got time.
That I was just planning on coming over here to talk.
Did you bring marijuana?
No.
It's like, I don't know at this point whether he does have marijuana, but that's such a weak no. Like his voice softens. The sort of assertiveness that he was conveying when he was talking about trying to convey that he was Father of the Year has disappeared, and his voice is the volume and tone of his voice is lowered. It's perfect signs of deceit, of deception.
Are you sure?
Mm-hmm.
Another one again. Not even a word. Just a mm.
Did you bring condoms with you?
No.
Listen. I'm so flabbergasted by the by the weakness of that denial that I can't. Fucking hell.
No. Not in your car?
No.
Do you watch television?
Yeah.
He's just a terrible liar, isn't he? Like, one of the worst.
Yeah.
Even Lorne, like, at least he, like, I never even meant to do it. At least it sounded pathetic. So you were like, maybe somebody that pathetic is telling the truth. Maybe you couldn't,
I'm Chris Hansen with Dateline NBC, and we're doing a story on adults who try to meet kids on the internet. If there's anything else you want to say, we'd like to hear.
Like, there's a proper reaction there, isn't there? Did you see his fingers sort of jitter? Total, like... Watch his fingers.
If there's anything else you want to say, we'd like to hear it. If not, you're obviously free to
completely lost it, hasn't it?
walk out the door you came in.
That's what you call a bad day.
Get down! On the ground! Get on the ground! Get down!
Police, when they searched his truck, found duct
Hang on, here we are.
tape, rope, condoms. Could those things have been in his truck because of his job? Possible. But when you consider in his chat that he talks about using it, with this teenage girl, you have to wonder what was going to happen if we weren't there.
Well, he would have tied it. I don't like this what they do, this leap to, because there's rope mentioned that he would have like seriously hurt her. Make your own mind up about that. But they do it's sensationalism. I don't like it sometimes. Or it's like, he had a rope. Oh, there's a possibility he would have killed her. They're implying. Anyway, that's another matter. But yeah, it's quite an interesting one. Quite a lot to look at there, guys. I hope you've enjoyed it. please leave any comments that you feel is appropriate with regard to his character. When he talks about his, his him being a deadbeat father and all that kind of stuff, and the chat log. One of the prejudices that doesn't really get talked about that much, so that's kind of why I thought it'd be interesting to do it. So yeah, I hope you're all looking after yourselves, and I'll speak to you soon.